And then they yelled, "Close the coffin." Hey, y'all, Jamie here, proud 56-year-old trans woman from New Orleans. So, where last I left off, y'all, I had woken up in the middle of the night in a puddle of blood. Yes, a puddle of blood about the size of a dinner plate, and it was blood and pus. And it was from my right breast. I had gotten brand new breast implants in Guadalajara, Mexico. And upon returning home, discovered that apparently the surgeon in Mexico left little threads of gauze in my incisions and it got infected. I thought the infection was cleared up and then it was not. It came back and the pressure had been building up. And it felt like somebody was lighting my breast on fire. Like it felt like somebody was twisting an ice pick in it. It was so painful and it was such a sharp, burning, stabbing pain. And the plastic surgeon was like, Jamie, you know, maybe we can, we finished the first round of antibiotics. Let's try another course of antibiotics. We're not going to give up just yet, but he said, if this is not a superficial infection, if this is behind the bag, if it's deep and it's in it can get into my bloodstream and kill me, is what he was telling me. And I I didn't know what to do, y'all. I had called my sugar daddy John Coyne, John Coyne that had taken me to Mexico to get my breast implants. I had called him. He knew what was going on. He was agreeing to pay the plastic surgeon's office. I didn't have health insurance in those days at all, So, yeah, my sugar daddy John Coyne was paying the plastic surgeon to see me during all of this. And they, look, I had woken up in the middle of the night in that puddle of blood, and it was a puddle of blood and pus pouring out of my right breast, and it was coming out of the nipple like milk would. It's just so gross. I'm so sorry, y'all. But it would be like if you were expressing milk from, from a breast. It was coming out of the nipple, like, and it would pour out when I would just press on the. All I would have to do is like press the top of my breast, and it would just pour out. And you know, I still had to work during this time. Like I was still working at La Roundup at 819 St. Louis, I'm still working there bartending. I'm devastated. Like while this is going on, I'm devastated. I was so excited to have my boobs, even though I had had boobs for years, don't get me wrong, but to have my implants, it's like a rite of passage for trans women, achieving these little monumental steps it's huge for us. It really is, I mean, I know it's a big deal for any woman to get her breasts done. It is. But when you're a trans woman, and you know that nature was not going to automatically give you breasts and you had to fight for them to have them, it's a big deal. And I was devastated. I was beside myself, but I wasn't giving up. Like I was not giving up. I was constantly changing band-aids and bandages. I would put a band-aid over the incision, and then on top of the band-aid, I would put square gauze pads, and then on top of that, my bra, or I would tape it to my bare chest because a lot of times I didn't wear bras. Like, I was working behind the bar. I was wearing scandalous, sexy stuff, so I just taped. I went through a lot of tape and a lot of gauze. So much tape and so much gauze. Y'all, it was crazy. Like, it was just crazy how much I was going through. And it was all in the efforts to try to save this breast. I'm seeing the plastic surgeon like twice a week, I think, at that point in time. I was seeing him twice a week just for him to make sure and see what was going on. And. And then Halloween rolled around, and I had to be, listen, they were having a drag show at La Roundup, and I'm staff, and I am known for being a showgirl in the French Quarter too. So they wanted me in the show for Halloween, and I wanted to do it. I had made plans to do it before all of this infection shit happened, And so, y'all, I was going to do Elvira. Yes, I was going to dress up as Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. I had the big black beehive wig and everything, and it was two wigs stacked together actually. But yeah, I had bought it from a costume shop. I had paid a fortune for the wig, and I had gotten the Elvira dress. And there were some friends of the owners of the bar, Mark and Colette. There were friends of theirs that owned a funeral home, okay? And the owners of the funeral home were nice enough that they lent me a real casket. Yeah, a real casket to do this number with on stage. I was excited about it. And even though, listen, while this is going on with this infection and I'm being told that the fucking thing could kill me if it gets into my bloodstream and it could go to my heart and kill me and all of this, I'm being told all of that, and I'm planning on getting in a casket on stage. Yeah, whole head fuck, right? And so I go on stage it's getting ready for the number, right? And I get in the casket and I've got the casket just like a couple of inches from being closed. And not all the way closed. I didn't want it was creepy, y'all. It felt weird to be in a real casket. Yeah, it was like a couple of inches from being closed. Then I heard a male voice out in the audience start yelling, "Slam it shut! Nail it! Nail it! Nail it shut now!" And started chanting this. And if y'all want to know what happens next, darling, y'all know the routine. Be here next time and I will too. I love you all. I love you all for watching and I love you for the comments. I'll talk to you later, y'all. Bye.